Captain Jinwoo stepped off the transport ship and felt his breath catch in his throat. The crystal world of Velthara stretched before him like something from a dream. Massive towers of pure crystal rose into the pink sky, each one catching the light of 3 different suns and throwing rainbows across the ground. The air itself seemed to sparkle with tiny floating crystals that danced around them like glitter. "Stay close to the protocol officer," Jinwoo told his team. "We don't want to mess this up on day 1. He adjusted his formal diplomatic uniform one last time. 3 years of negotiations had led to this moment. Earth needed this alliance badly, and the Veltharans were known to be extremely particular about first impressions. The welcoming party approached across the Crystal Plaza. Jinwoo had studied their species for months, but seeing them in person was still shocking. The Veltharans looked almost human, except for their skin, which was completely see-through like colored glass. He could actually see their blood flowing underneath, glowing softly with bioluminescent light. Leading the group was Princess Nara, and Jinwoo had to work hard not to stare. Her skin was the most beautiful shade of blue he had ever seen, like looking at the ocean on a perfect summer day. But what really caught his attention was how her color kept shifting. As she walked closer, her blue skin darkened slightly, and he wondered if that meant she was nervous too. The formal ceremony began with lots of bowing and strange musical instruments that sounded like wind chimes. Jinwoo followed the script his team had practiced hundreds of times. Everything was going perfectly until Princess Nara stepped forward to present the traditional welcome crystal. Her ceremonial dress was incredible, but also incredibly long. The fabric seemed to be made from the same crystal material as their buildings, flowing like liquid light around her feet. As she lifted the heavy welcome crystal above her head, the dress caught under her heel. Time slowed down as Jinwoo watched her start to fall backward. The crystal was worth more than his entire ship, and if it shattered during the ceremony, the alliance would be over before it started. Without thinking, he lunged forward and caught her hands, steadying her just as she was about to hit the ground. The moment their skin touched, something incredible happened. Princess Nara's blue skin began to shimmer and change. Instead of the blue he expected, a brilliant silver light started spreading from where their hands connected. It was like watching liquid starlight flow under her transparent skin. The entire Veltharan delegation gasped and stepped backward. Some covered their eyes as if they had seen something forbidden. The princess herself looked down at their joined hands with complete shock, her mouth falling open. "What is happening?" Jinwoo whispered, but he didn't let go. The silver light was warm and somehow comforting, like touching sunlight. Princess Nara's eyes met his, and for just a moment, the formal ceremony and all the watching aliens disappeared. There was something in her expression he couldn't understand, a mixture of wonder and fear that made his heart race. The moment lasted only seconds before the royal guards rushed forward, but Jinwoo knew everything had changed. The silver light faded from the princess's skin, returning to its normal blue, but something new had been born in that brief touch, something that would either save both their worlds or destroy any chance of peace between them. As the guards separated, them and the ceremony continued with nervous efficiency. Jinwoo couldn't stop thinking about that silver light and the way Princess Nara had looked at him like he had just shown her magic. The silence in the crystal throne room was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Jinwoo stood perfectly still, as dozens of Veltharans stared at him like he had just committed murder. Their skin colors were shifting rapidly between deep reds and angry purples, which his briefing materials had warned him meant serious trouble. Elder Hyunwoo stepped forward, his ancient skin flickering between orange and yellow like a warning light. "Human captain," his voice echoed strangely in the crystal chamber, "do you understand what you have done?" Jinwoo swallowed hard. "I was trying to prevent the princess from falling, Elder. I meant no disrespect." No disrespect. Another council. Members' skin flashed bright red. "You have violated our most sacred law." Princess Nara remained silent beside her father's throne, but Jinwoo noticed her skin had returned to that soft blue color. She kept glancing at her hands where they had touched, and he could swear he saw tiny flickers of silver still dancing under her skin. Elder Hyunwoo raised his hand for silence. Captain Jinwoo, you must understand our ways. We Veltharans are empathic beings. When we touch another of our kind, we feel their emotions, their thoughts, sometimes even their memories. It is why we do not touch casually, why physical contact is reserved only for family and life partners. But I'm human, Jinwoo said, confused. Surely that doesn't apply to me. That is exactly why it is forbidden. The elder's skin blazed yellow. We do not know what might happen when we touch an alien species. The risk is too great. What you saw today, that silver light, should not have been possible. The king finally spoke, his voice deep and rumbling. The silver light is not recorded in any of our histories. We do not know what it means or what dangers it might bring. After hours of tense discussions and formal apologies, Jinwoo was finally dismissed to his guest quarters. He slumped onto the crystal bed, exhausted and confused. Everything had been going so well until that moment in the ceremony. 3 days passed with no contact from the royal family. Jinwoo spent his time studying Veltharan culture and trying to understand what had gone wrong. His team assured him the negotiations could still be salvaged, but he couldn't stop thinking about Princess Nara and that silver light. On the 4th morning, there was a soft knock at his door. He opened it to find a young Veltharan woman with pale green skin and nervous silver eyes. "Captain Jinwoo," she whispered, looking around to make sure no one was watching. "My name is Myung. I serve as Princess Nara's personal attendant." "Is everything all right with the princess?" Myung stepped closer, lowering her voice even more. "That is why I am here. Princess Nara has been asking many questions about human customs since the ceremony. She wants to understand why your people touch each other so freely." Jinwoo felt his heart speed up. "What kind of questions?" "She watches from her window when your team exercises in the courtyard. She sees how you pat each other on the back, shake hands, help each other up when someone falls. She has never seen anything like it." Myung paused, looking nervous. "She has asked me to arrange a private meeting with you." "Is that allowed?" "I don't want to cause more problems." "Officially, no. But Princess Nara says she needs to understand human culture for the success of the alliance. She can meet you in the abandoned crystal garden tonight after the second moon rises. No guards, no witnesses." Jinwoo knew he should refuse. After the scandal at the ceremony, the last thing he needed was to be caught in a secret meeting with the princess. But something about the way Myung described Nara's curiosity made him want to help. "Tell the princess I'll be there," he said finally. Myung smiled, her skin shifting to a warm yellow color. "She will be pleased. But Captain, please be careful. There are those in the court who believe humans are dangerous to our people." These abandoned crystal garden was like stepping into a fairy tale. Broken crystal flowers still caught moonlight and threw it around in dancing patterns. Jinwoo found Princess Nara sitting on a bench made of smooth blue stone, her skin glowing softly, in the darkness like a living nightlight. "You came," she said, and he could hear relief in her voice. "Of course, though I have to admit I'm not sure what I can teach you about human culture that your books haven't already covered." Princess Nara stood up, her ceremonial dress replaced with something simpler that didn't drag on the ground. "Books don't explain the feeling behind actions. I have been watching your people, and I see things that make no sense to me." Over the next hour, she asked him dozens of questions. Why did humans pat each other on the back after doing something good? Why did they shake hands when meeting someone new? Why did his crew members sometimes put their arms around each other when someone was sad? "It's about connection," Jinwoo explained, sitting carefully on the other end of the bench. "Physical touch is how we show we care about someone. It's how we comfort each other. But don't you worry about feeling too much? About losing yourself in another person's emotions?" Jinwoo realized she was talking about her species' empathic abilities. Humans don't have that problem. When we touch, we don't feel each other's thoughts or emotions directly. We just feel closer, more connected. Princess Nara was quiet for a long moment. "That sounds wonderful," she whispered. "To touch someone without drowning in their feelings." They met again the next night, and the night after that. Each time Princess Nara asked more questions about human behavior. She was especially curious about friendship and how humans showed affection to people they cared about. "Yesterday I watched your engineer Taehyun fall down during training," she said during their fourth meeting. "Your teammate Sunho immediately helped him up and held his shoulder while asking if he was hurt. Taehyun looked grateful, not annoyed. Among my people, such casual touch would be overwhelming." "That's just what friends do," Jinwoo said. "We look out for each other. Can you show me?" The question came out so quietly he almost missed it. "Show you what?" "How humans hold hands as friends." "I have read about it, but I don't understand the purpose." Jinwoo felt his heart start beating faster. He knew this was probably a terrible idea, but the curiosity in her voice was impossible to ignore. "Are you sure? I don't want to make you uncomfortable." She nodded, extending her hands toward him. "I need to understand." Very slowly, Jinwoo reached out and gently took her hands in his. The moment their skin connected, that incredible silver light began flowing under her transparent skin again. This time, instead of the shocked gasps from the ceremony, Princess Nara simply watched in wonder. "It's warm," she breathed. "I can feel your heartbeat, but not your thoughts. How is this possible?" "I don't know," Jinwoo admitted. "But it doesn't hurt, does it?" She shook her head, the silver light growing brighter. "It feels safe, like being wrapped in sunlight." She looked up at him with those incredible eyes. "Is this what human friendship feels like?" "Sometimes," he said, though he was beginning to suspect what he was feeling was much more than friendship. They sat like that for several minutes, just holding hands while silver light danced between their fingers. Princess Nara kept staring at their joined hands, like she was seeing magic for the first time. "I think I understand now why your people touch so freely," she said finally. "If it always feels like this, like being connected to something larger than yourself without losing who you are." She didn't finish the sentence, but Jinwoo could see something changing in her expression. Something that looked almost like hunger. Not for food, but for more of these moments, more of this connection that her own people could never give her. The peace negotiations had been going on for 2 weeks now, and Jinwoo could feel the stress wearing on everyone. The Veltharans were cautious about every detail, questioning each clause of the treaty like their lives depended on it. Which, honestly, they probably did. During a particularly heated discussion about trade routes, Jinwoo's communications officer, Taehyun, suddenly collapsed. The poor guy had been working 18-hour days trying to establish stable contact with Earth, and his body had finally given up. As the medical team rushed in, Jinwoo knelt beside his friend and placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. "Hey, you're going to be okay," Jinwoo said softly. "The docs will fix you up, and then you're taking 3 days off whether you like it or not." Taehyun managed a weak smile. "Sorry, Captain. I didn't mean to cause a scene." "Don't apologize for being human." Jinwoo squeezed his shoulder gently. "Just focus on getting better." From across the negotiation room, Princess Nara watched the entire exchange with intense focus. Her skin had shifted to a deep purple color that Jinwoo had learned meant she was thinking hard about something. Even after Taehyun was carried to the medical bay and the meetings resumed, she kept glancing at Jinwoo with a strange expression. That evening, their secret meeting in the Crystal Garden felt different. Princess Nara seemed restless, pacing around the broken crystal flowers instead of sitting on their usual bench. Her skin kept shifting between different shades of blue and purple, like she couldn't decide what she was feeling. "Something's bothering you," Jinwoo said finally. "What's wrong?" She stopped pacing and turned to face him. "Today, when your crew member collapsed, I watched you comfort him, the way you touched his shoulder, spoke to him. It was different from how you touch me." Jinwoo felt his stomach drop. "Different how?" "With him it was quick, simple, like you were just helping a friend. But with me—" She held out her hands, and he automatically reached for them. The silver light flowed between their skin as always, but this time it seemed brighter, more intense. "With me, you're always so careful, so gentle, like I might break." "You might," Jinwoo said honestly. "I still don't understand what this silver light means. I don't want to hurt you." Princess Nara stared down at their joined hands, watching the silver patterns dance under her skin. That's not what I mean, and you know it. The question hung in the air between them for a long moment. Jinwoo felt like he was standing on the edge of a cliff, knowing that whatever came next would change everything. "Why do you hold my hands, human?" Princess Nara asked finally, her voice barely above a whisper. "So your species touches so freely, but with me it feels different, special, like you're not just showing friendship." Jinwoo's heart started pounding so hard he was sure she could hear it. "Nara, tell me the truth," she said, squeezing his hands gently. "I can see it in your eyes when you look at me. I can feel it in the way you touch me, even though I can't read your thoughts like I can with my own people. There's something more here, isn't there?" He looked into her eyes, those incredible alien eyes that somehow seem so familiar now. "I don't know how to explain it. With Taehyun, with my crew, touching them is about friendship, about being there for each other. But with you," he took a deep breath, "with you, it's different. It's like every time I touch you, I'm trying to tell you something I don't have words for." "What are you trying to tell me?" Jinwoo felt like he was jumping off that cliff. "That you're not just another alien princess to me. That these past few weeks, getting to know you, talking with you, holding your hands, it's become the best part of my day. That when I'm not with you, I'm thinking about you." Princess Nara's skin began to glow brighter, the silver light spreading up her arms like liquid starlight. "You're talking about something deeper than friendship." "Yeah," Jinwoo whispered. "I think I am." The explosion rocked the entire crystal palace at dawn. Jinwoo was thrown from his bed as the walls shook, and the sound of shattering crystal filled the air. Emergency alarms blared in both human and Veltharan languages, and he could hear shouting in the corridors outside his room. "Captain!" His translator Somin burst through the door, her face pale with panic. "We're under attack. Some kind of Veltharan rebel group has taken control of the East Wing." Jinwoo grabbed his communicator and tried to reach his team, but all he got was static. "Where are the others?" "Scattered throughout the palace. I think they're trying to take hostages to stop the peace talks." Somin helped him put on his protective gear. "We need to get to the evacuation point." They made it halfway through the crystal corridors when the second explosion hit. This one was much closer, and Jinwoo felt chunks of crystal rain down from above. He pushed Somin ahead of him, but a large piece of the ceiling caught him across the back and shoulder, sending him crashing to the ground. "Captain!" Somin dropped beside him, her hands already reaching for the medical kit on her belt. "Oh no, you're bleeding badly." Jinwoo tried to sit up, but immediately felt dizzy. His shoulder felt like it was on fire, and he could feel warm blood soaking through his shirt. "I'm okay, just help me up." "You're definitely not okay." Somin started cleaning the wound with shaking hands. "This is deep. We need to get you to a medical bay." "No time," Jinwoo gasped as another explosion echoed through the palace. "We need to find the others and get out of here." That's when they heard running footsteps. Jinwoo tensed, ready to fight, but the figure that rounded the corner wasn't a rebel. It was Princess Nara, her ceremonial dress torn and her skin flashing between panicked yellows and terrified purples. "Jinwoo!" She dropped to her knees beside him, her eyes wide with fear. "I heard the explosions and came looking for you." "Are you hurt?" "I'm fine," he lied, but the way she looked at his bloody shoulder made it clear she wasn't buying it. "He's not fine," Somin said bluntly. "He needs medical attention now, or he's going to pass out from blood loss." Princess Nara's skin suddenly shifted to a color Jinwoo had never seen before, a deep, intense blue that seemed to glow from within. "Move aside," she told Somin, her voice completely different from her usual gentle tone. "Princess, I don't think—" "Move!" Princess Nara's skin blazed brighter. "I can help him, but I need to touch him now." Somin reluctantly stepped back as Princess Nara reached for Jinwoo's hands. The moment their skin connected, that familiar silver light appeared, but this time it was different. Instead of the gentle glow they'd shared in the garden, this was like touching lightning. "What are you doing?" Jinwoo asked, but he could already feel something changing. The pain in his shoulder was fading, replaced by a warm, tingling sensation. "My people have a healing touch," Princess Nara said, her voice strained with concentration. "We don't use it often because it requires intimate connection." But I can't watch you suffer. The silver light was now flowing from their joined hands, directly to Jinwoo's injured shoulder. He watched in amazement as the bleeding stopped and the torn skin began to knit itself back together. But more than that, he could feel something else happening. It was like Princess Nara was pouring part of herself into him, sharing not just her healing ability, but her very life force. "Nara, this is too much," he said, seeing how the effort was making her skin grow paler. "You're going to hurt yourself." "I don't care," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "When I heard those explosions, when I thought you might be, I realized I can't lose you, I can't lose this." She squeezed his hands tighter, and the silver light blazed even brighter. In that moment, with her healing energy flowing through, him and her tears falling on their joined hands, Jinwoo understood something that changed everything. This wasn't just attraction or curiosity anymore. This was love, real and deep and terrifying in its intensity. "I love you too," he whispered, and Princess Nara's skin exploded with silver light so bright that even Somin had to shield her eyes. The healing had worked perfectly. Jinwoo's shoulder was completely healed, without even a scar to show where the crystal had cut him. But the silver light that had blazed between him and Princess Nara during the process had been seen by too many people. Palace guards, servants, even some of the rebels who had been captured, they all whispered about the impossible sight they had witnessed. 3 days after the attack, Jinwoo was summoned to the throne room, not for negotiations this time, but for something that felt much more serious. The crystal chamber was packed with Veltharan nobles, all of them staring at him with expressions ranging from curiosity to outright hostility. King Do-hyun sat on his massive throne, his skin a deep, angry red that made Jinwoo's stomach drop. Princess Nara stood beside him, but she wouldn't meet Jinwoo's eyes. Her skin was the palest blue he had ever seen, almost grey with worry. "Captain Jinwoo," the king's voice echoed through the chamber like thunder. "Step forward." Jinwoo walked to the center of the room, feeling like he was walking to his own execution. The assembled nobles whispered among themselves, their skin colors shifting rapidly with excitement and fear. "How you have been meeting with my daughter in secret," King Do-hyun said. It wasn't a question. "Yes, Your Majesty. Princess Nara wanted to understand human culture to help with the peace negotiations." "Do not lie to me, human!" The king's skin blazed, brighter red. "I have witnesses who saw what happened during the attack. The silver light, the healing bond. Do you know what that means?" Jinwoo glanced at Princess Nara, but she was staring at the floor. "No, Your Majesty. I don't understand what's happening between us." An elderly Veltharan stepped forward from the crowd. Jinwoo recognized him as the court's chief scholar, an ancient being whose skin was so pale it was almost white. "The silver light," the scholar said in a creaky voice, "indicates a soul bond. Among our people it is the rarest and most sacred of connections. Two beings whose very souls are meant to be together, whose life forces complement each other perfectly." "That's impossible," another noble called out. "Soul bonds only happen between Veltharans." "Exactly." King Do-hyun stood up from his throne, towering over everyone in the room. "What we witnessed should not exist. A human and a Veltharan cannot share a soul bond. It goes against everything we know about our species." Jinwoo felt his world crumbling around him. "So what does that mean?" "It means," the king said, his voice cold as ice, "that whatever this connection is between you and my daughter, it ends now. No more secret meetings. No more touching, no more contact of any kind." "Father, please," Princess Nara finally spoke, but her father cut her off with a gesture. "Silence. You have embarrassed our family and our entire species with this abomination." King Do-hyun's skin was now so red it was almost purple. "To make matters worse, our enemies are using this scandal to claim that humans are dangerous to our people, that contact with your species will corrupt us." Jinwoo felt anger rising in his chest. "There's nothing corrupt about caring for someone." "Caring?" The king laughed bitterly. "You think this is about caring? You have created a bond that shouldn't exist with consequences we cannot predict. What if other Veltharans begin forming these connections with humans? What if our entire species is changed by contact with yours? Would that be so terrible?" "Yes!" The king's roar echoed through the chamber. We are who we are because we have maintained our purity for thousands of years. We will not be corrupted by alien influence." The king sat back down, his skin slowly returning to its normal blue color. When he spoke again, his voice was calm but deadly serious. "Princess Nara will be married to Prince Minho of the Eastern Kingdom within the month. This alliance has been arranged to strengthen our defenses and ensure the purity of our bloodline." Jinwoo felt like he'd been punched in the stomach. "Married? The engagement will be announced tomorrow," the king continued. "And you, Captain, Jinwoo, will complete your negotiations and leave our world immediately afterward. If you attempt to contact my daughter again, the peace treaty will be void, and your entire delegation will be imprisoned." Princess Nara finally looked up, and Jinwoo could see tears flowing down her face. Her skin was flickering between grey and the palest silver, like she was trying to reach for him even from across the room. "I understand, Your Majesty," Jinwoo said quietly, though his heart was breaking. "I'll respect your wishes." As he turned to leave, he heard Princess Nara whisper something so quietly only he could hear, "This isn't over." The treaty signing was scheduled for tomorrow morning, and Jinwoo's transport ship would leave immediately afterward. His bags were already packed, sitting in the corner of his quarters like a countdown to heartbreak. He hadn't seen Princess Nara in 2 weeks, not since that horrible day in the throne room when her father had forbidden them from meeting. But he couldn't leave. Not like this. Not without telling her how he really felt. The palace was buzzing with activity as servants prepared for both the treaty ceremony and Princess Nara's engagement announcement. Jinwoo slipped through the corridors like a ghost, avoiding the main pathways where guards might recognize him. He knew exactly where she would be. The palace gardens at night were even more beautiful than the abandoned crystal garden where they used to meet. Bioluminescent flowers glowed softly in the darkness, and the 3 moons cast everything in an otherworldly light. He found Princess Nara sitting beside a fountain made of living crystal that sang softly as water flowed through. Yet she looked up when she heard his footsteps, and her skin immediately shifted from its dull grey color to that familiar blue he loved so much. "Jinwoo, you shouldn't be here." "I know." He sat down beside her on the fountain's edge, careful not to touch her. "I leave tomorrow. I couldn't go without saying goodbye." "Goodbye," she whispered, but neither of them moved to leave. They sat in silence for several minutes, listening to the crystal fountain's gentle music. Finally, Princess Nara spoke. "I'm getting married in 3 days, I heard. Prince Minho seems like a good man. He is. He's kind, intelligent, everything a princess should want in a husband." Her voice was completely flat, emotionless. "I feel nothing when I look at him, nothing at all." Jinwoo's hands clenched into fists. "Nara, do you know what the worst part is?" She turned to face him, and he could see tears shining in her eyes. "Every night I dream about Silver Light. I dream about touching you, about that feeling of being connected to something wonderful. And then I wake up and remember that I'll never feel that again." "Don't say that." "Why not? It's true." She laughed bitterly. "My father thinks he's protecting our people by keeping us apart. But what if he's wrong? What if this connection we have isn't corruption? What if it's evolution?" Jinwoo couldn't hold back anymore. "I love you." The words hung in the air between them like a bridge neither of them could cross. Princess Nara's skin began to glow softly, silver light flickering under the surface like trapped starlight. "I love you too," she whispered. "I've been fighting it for weeks, telling myself it was just curiosity, just fascination with human culture. But it's not. It's love, and it's real, and it's the most beautiful thing I've ever felt." "Then don't marry him." "I have to. If I refuse, it could start a war between our kingdoms. Thousands of people could die because I chose love over duty." Jinwoo reached for her hands without thinking. "But what if you're choosing wrong? What if love is more important than duty sometimes?" The moment their skin touched, the silver light exploded between them like a supernova. But this time it didn't stop at their hands. The light began spreading through the air around them, creating patterns and shapes that danced like living artwork. It flowed around the garden, touching the bioluminescent flowers and making them glow brighter. Even the crystal fountain began singing a new song, harmonizing with the energy flowing between them. "This is incredible," Princess Nara breathed, watching the silver light paint pictures in the air. "It's like our souls are talking to each other. Maybe they are." Jinwoo squeezed her hands gently, and the light pulsed brighter. "Maybe this is what love is supposed to look like when it's real." They leaned closer to each other, foreheads almost touching, surrounded by a galaxy of silver light that seemed to celebrate their connection. For just a moment, the rest of the universe disappeared. There were no kings or treaties or arranged marriages, just two people who had found something beautiful in each other. "I wish we could stay like this forever," Princess Nara whispered. "So, do I." But even as they spoke, they both knew tomorrow would come. The treaty would be signed, Jinwoo would leave, and Princess Nara would marry a man she didn't love. The silver light began to fade as reality crept back in, but the memory of this moment would stay with both of them forever. Dr. Yoon-hee had been studying the unusual energy readings from her laboratory when she noticed the massive spike on her instruments. The silver energy signature was unlike anything in Veltaran's scientific records, and it was coming from the palace gardens. As the kingdom's leading expert on empathic biology, she knew she had to investigate. What she found in the garden changed everything she thought she knew about her species. Hidden behind a cluster of crystal trees, Dr. Yoon-hee watched in amazement as Captain Jinwoo and Princess Nara sat together, their joined hands creating the most beautiful display of energy she had ever witnessed. The silver light wasn't just glowing between them. It was transforming the entire garden, making flowers bloom brighter and causing the crystal fountain to sing in harmonies that shouldn't have been possible. But more importantly, her instruments were recording data that defied every law of Veltharan biology. "Impossible," she whispered, checking her readings again. "This shouldn't exist." Dr. Yoon-hee had spent her entire career studying how Veltharans connected with each other through touch. She understood the complex neural pathways that allowed them to share emotions and thoughts. But what she was seeing now was something completely different, a new type of connection that bridged two entirely different species. When the silver light finally faded and the princess and captain parted ways, Dr. Yoon-hee hurried back to her laboratory. She spent the entire night analyzing the data, running calculations, and comparing her findings to centuries of Veltharan biological research. The results were revolutionary. The next morning, as the palace prepared for the treaty signing ceremony, Dr. Yoon-hee requested an emergency meeting with King Do-hyun. She found him in his private study, looking tired and worried about the day's events. "Your Majesty," she said, bowing respectfully, "I have urgent information about Princess Nara and the human captain." King Do-hyun's skin immediately shifted to an angry red. "If this is about their inappropriate relationship, I don't want to hear it. The matter is settled." "This isn't about their relationship," Dr. Yoon-hee said quickly. "This is about evolution. About the future of our entire species." The king paused, his curiosity overriding his anger. "Explain." Dr. Yoon-hee pulled out her data tablets and spread them across the king's desk. "Last night, I witnessed and recorded the energy phenomenon that occurs when Princess Nara and Captain Jinwoo touch. Your Majesty, what I discovered could change everything we know about galactic biology." "What did you find?" "The silver light isn't just a pretty display. It's evidence of a completely new type of empathic connection, one that can bridge species. Barriers." Dr. Yoon-hee pointed to her readings. "For thousands of years we believed Veltharans could only form deep empathic bonds with other Veltharans, but Princess Nara has somehow developed the ability to connect with a human being at the same level." King Do-hyun studied the data, his skin shifting to a thoughtful purple. "What does this mean?" "It means our species is evolving, Your Majesty. Princess Nara represents the next step in Veltharan development, the ability to form meaningful connections with other intelligent species throughout the galaxy." The implications hit the king like a thunderbolt. "You're saying she's not corrupted by human contact? She's evolved because of it?" "Exactly. And if Princess Nara can do this, other Veltharans might develop the same ability over time. Imagine what this could mean for galactic cooperation. Instead of being limited to relationships within our own species, we could form genuine emotional bonds with humans, with the crystalline collective, with any species we encounter." Dr. Yoon-hee pulled up another data screen. "The energy patterns. I recorded show perfect harmony between two completely different biological systems. It's not just communication, it's true understanding at the deepest possible level. King Doyun sat down heavily in his chair. This changes everything. Yes, Your Majesty. Princess Nara isn't violating our traditions, she's pioneering our future. If we force her to suppress this connection, we might be preventing our entire species from taking the next step in evolution. The king was quiet for a long moment, processing the magnitude of what Dr. Yunhee had discovered. Finally, he looked up at her with a mixture of fear and wonder in his eyes. Are you certain about this? Absolutely certain. The data doesn't lie. Your Majesty, Princess Nara and Captain Jinwoo have created something that has never existed before, a bridge between species that could reshape how we interact with the entire galaxy. King Doyun stared at the scientific readings spread across his desk. In just a few hours, he was supposed to sign a peace treaty with the humans and announce his daughter's engagement to Prince Minho. But now, everything he thought he knew about protecting his people had been turned upside down. What do you recommend? He asked finally. Dr. Yunhee smiled. I recommend we stop fighting evolution and start embracing it. The great crystal hall was packed with dignitaries from both worlds. Jinwoo stood at the ceremonial table, trying to focus on the treaty documents in front of him, instead of thinking about how this would be his last day on Velthara. In a few hours, he would board his transport ship and never see Princess Nara. Again, King Doyun approached the signing table, but something was different about him. Instead of the angry red skin color Jinwoo had expected, the king's skin was a calm, thoughtful blue. He carried an additional document that wasn't part of the original treaty. Before we proceed with the standard agreement, King Do-hyun announced to the crowd, I wish to add a new provision to this treaty. Murmurs rippled through the assembled crowd. Even Jinwoo's own team looked confused. Treaty additions at the last minute were almost unheard of in diplomatic circles. Yesterday, our chief scientist, Dr. Yunhee, presented me with research that changes our understanding of interspecies relationships. The king's voice carried throughout the crystal chamber. We have discovered that the connection between species may be deeper and more beneficial than we previously believed. Princess Nara, who had been standing silently with the other royal family members, suddenly looked up with hope in her eyes. Her skin, which had been that dull gray color for weeks, began to show flickers of silver. Therefore, King Dohyun continued, we are establishing the Galactic Interspecies Bonding Research Program to be jointly operated by human and Veltharan scientists. Captain Jinwoo, we would like to offer you the position of permanent human ambassador to oversee this program. Jinwoo felt his heart stop. Your Majesty, are you saying you want me to stay? I am saying that what we initially saw as a problem may actually be the solution to bringing our species closer together. The king looked directly at his daughter. And I am saying that perhaps it is time for our people to choose love over fear. The crowd erupted in whispers and gasps. Prince Minho, who had been sitting in the front row waiting for his engagement announcement, stood up slowly. Instead of looking angry, he seemed almost relieved. Your Majesty, Prince Minho said, bowing respectfully, if I may speak freely, I believe Princess Nara's heart belongs elsewhere. I release her from our engagement with my blessing. Princess Nara stepped forward, her skin now glowing with silver light that was visible even from across the room. Father, are you really saying? I am saying that Dr. Yunhee has shown me that your connection with Captain Jinwoo represents evolution, not corruption. And I am saying that I was wrong to try to prevent it. Jinwoo couldn't believe what he was hearing. I accept the position, Your Majesty. I would be honored to serve as ambassador. The treaty signing proceeded with the new provision, but everyone in the room was watching Princess Nara and Jinwoo. As soon as the formal ceremony ended, she practically ran across the room to him. Is this really happening? She asked, reaching for his hands. I think it is, Jinwoo said, taking her hands in his. The silver light that flowed between them was brighter than ever, creating patterns in the air that made the entire crowd gasp in wonder. Dr. Yunhee stepped forward with her instruments, recording everything. Remarkable. The energy output is increasing as their emotional bond strengthens. This could be the key to understanding interspecies cooperation on a galactic scale. Over the following months, The research program attracted scientists from dozens of different worlds. Princess Nara and Jinwoo's relationship became the foundation for groundbreaking discoveries about how different species could connect emotionally and mentally. Their silver light bond was studied, documented, and eventually replicated by other interspecies couples throughout the galaxy. A year after the treaty signing, Jinwoo and Princess Nara stood together in the same crystal garden where they had first confessed their love. Now it served as the headquarters for the research program that was changing how the galaxy thought about relationships between different species. "Do you ever regret it?" Princess Nara asked, watching the silver light dance between their fingers. "Giving up your career as a space captain to stay here with me?" Jinwoo smiled, pulling her closer. "Are you kidding? I get to wake up every day next to the woman I love, doing work that's literally changing the galaxy. Besides," he gestured to the silver light surrounding them, "someone has to keep studying this amazing thing we've created." Their bond had become more than just a love story. It was proof that emotional connection could unite any species willing to reach across the void, and it was showing the galaxy that the future belonged to those brave enough to love without boundaries. As the silver light painted pictures in the evening air around them, Jinwoo knew they had found something worth more than any treaty or political alliance. They had found a bridge between worlds, built on the strongest foundation in the universe: love.